Aloha folks, welcome to another episode of Think on These Things. What are we doing today? Well, we're in my garage as you can see, and I'm going to be doing some building. My daughters, who are roomies, Chloe and Mabry, have been bugging us about new nightstands. The nightstands they have, we literally got off the side of the road during bulk pickup, and they're too big and they can't use them as desks. They want nightstands that they can sort of double as desk, and so they found a picture of one on Pinterest that looks exactly something that I could do. It's sort of janky on the bottom, almost like you drag some old junk out of a barn, spray painted it, and put a nice piece of wood on top. So I thought, you know, if I can make a lot of mistakes, that I'll actually make it look like it's supposed to be. So add a lot of character. So I'll just take you along the way as I build these things. Probably show you a few of my tools to begin with that I'm using, and then put these things together and let you see the end product, and listen to some music, and I'll say a few concluding remarks. All right, well, let's get to work. So while the girls are doing some schoolwork and chores, I can show you what I'm up to. I'll be using my miter saw, and or chop saw, some people call it. Actually, I got some really good advice one time. Gary Hendershot told me, if you want to spend money, spend it on a good miter saw. You'll use that a ton, and go cheap on a table saw, which is exactly what I did. He said a table saw you'll use once a year, a miter saw you use a lot more. And sure enough, I use that thing all the time. This, once, twice a year, I throw it out and it's just sufficient for what I need. So I'll be using both of these tools. Drills, of course, some Loctite, little pocket screw thing, some screws, nail gun, the paint and stuff, and that's paint and some other all-purpose adhesive. I've got some lumber. One of it is a tabletop, and I've got to strip the paint off that tabletop before I get going. And then, of course, the table saw. I can guarantee you that what the girls had before was of greater quality. What we found on the side of the road was of greater quality than what I just put together. Like I said, I'm not a carpenter. I'm not the son of the carpenter. But my grandpa and my great-grandpa were both Finnish carpenters. In fact, my dad used to always tell a story that when he was a little boy, he was in his grandpa, my great-grandpa, Aaron Pinckney Elliff, A.P. Elliff. He was in his shop one day, and his grandpa asked him, he said, "Tommy, go get me a 1/4-inch chisel." You know what a chisel is? It's this little device, little tool that's has a very specific use. You can dig out some wood, and it's very purposeful, it's very sharp, and if they're kept well, if they're good quality, you can accomplish a lot with a little chisel. And he asked my dad, "Tommy, go get the little chisel." My dad went off, and he looked from one end of the workshop to the other, and finally, in some recess of the workshop, down behind a cabinet in a box or something, he finally found the chisel. He came running back to his grandpa and said, "Grandpa, I found the chisel." And my great-grandpa looked down at my dad and said, "I've already accomplished what I need with this old screwdriver that was handy." And the lesson my dad would tell us is that even if you have all these gifts, even if you have all these very refined, special, high-end gifts, if you're not handy to the Lord, you won't be used. God uses who is handy. And what a great lesson for us in this time of isolation. You know, we're alone. It's time to draw close to God. The Bible says in James 4:8, "Draw near to God and He will draw near to you." You want to be used by God. You want to be purposeful in God's kingdom. You want to grow in this time. Well, stay handy. Grow closer to God in this time of isolation. What a great opportunity to do this. Well, that's about it. I guess I'll see you guys on the next episode.